I said last time that this was a little suburb surrounding this forest, but that's really an overstatement. It's just a housing development, and I found out that 30 years ago it wasn't even here. It was just forest on the edge of the city, and gradually houses were built to enclose this forest. Today I'm looking at this larger connected section of the micro forest, as I'm calling it, and I found that the signs are here, just not quite as thick as in the first part. This is what I call roughly symmetrical stuffing. You have ones wedged and stuffed in on this side, and then more coming in here. Didn't grow here. Where are you? There we go. I mean, this is obviously built on purpose. Hate to tell you. These different segments of this tree are lying on the ground, so I don't know where it came from originally, but this chunk of it winds up coming through here, and then this goes up all the way down and is pinned in place by this segment. And then there's a bunch of extra branches laid in here too. This is an extra branch. This whole thing right here is laid on top in an accumulation. And this bark here, stripped off, it wasn't just nibbled off by some kind of bug or little animal. A lot of it wound up here on the ground. It didn't rot off either, because this is partly rotten, but not rotten enough to just fall off the tree. And if it did fall off the tree, it wouldn't wind up 3 feet away. If it blew off the tree, it wouldn't all be piled together like that. It would be all different places. Here's a giant pine tree limb. Pretty fresh, still green, and too heavy to have been blown far from its source. And this isn't its source. This isn't its source. This isn't its source. This is like a birch tree. There's nothing around here that could be its source. This is what I call the longsword. Just speared through a pair of trees, and it obviously was stripped off of another long strip at some point. There is no such up here. I know it's hard to see, but there isn't. I looked, and there's no strip like that anywhere nearby. There's some broken limbs, but not a long strip, which would be very obvious. Here's another obvious construction in my book. Even if they fell from above somewhere, they wouldn't all wind up jabbed through the middle. They'd fall off onto the ground. Bark in here. Look, this one is just a short extra piece. It just goes this far. See? Just up here, out here, just short. And this tree is upside down, like the ones we found in the other part of the forest, sticking upward, and its top is down here. Here's another modest construction. I never find the amazing large-scale structures that, for instance, Rio, Utah Sasquatch, and Mark of Colorado Bigfoot finds. Around here, to me they're obvious, but they're not really ready for a calendar picture. No real way to tell on this one because people like to stack rocks on top of rocks much more than they like working with branches to make rudimentary little shapes. Look at all these peeled lengths of branch all over the place. I really do think that they munch on these little crunchy between meal snacks. Mountain gorillas eat wood. Why not these guys? And they're all debarked, or most of them. There's just hundreds of them. And they're just right here. Not over here. I mean, far fewer. It's like a boneyard. Sticks instead of bones. And I've heard from lots of people that they seem to like watching cars go by. This is a busy highway, Route 2, right next to Montpelier, right next to the city, which is right there. It's good in a way, besides maybe the entertainment of watching cars, because the noise, near constant noise from this road, could screen out whatever they're doing up here that may make noise, and also they know that cars just move along, move past. They don't stop and people get out and climb up the hill. And on the other side are businesses, not residences. So at night, nobody's, in the middle of the night, nobody's over there watching. Definitely not coming up here. This looks a little bit suspicious. I know it's so easy to convince yourself, but there are others. Disturbances in the pine needles, and then some more open spots. More potential tracks. Not clear ones, leading to this. Which could be another track. Very, very hard to be sure.